reason I'm talking with Renee today is because my novel, Catch a Falling Star, is dedicated to her son, Ian. I prayed a long time about who I was going to dedicate this book to. And for the longest time, I came up with a blank. And Catch a Falling Star, the theme, the story question is, what do you do when life doesn't go according to plan? And you'll find out as Renee and I talk today that what happened with their son Ian really has to do with what happens when life turns upside down and takes you someplace you never imagined going as a mom. And in the dedication to Ian, I said that I learned more about courageous faith from Renee Lyons than anyone else in the world. And I wanted to spend some time with Renee today just so that you could learn more about who Renee Lyons is. So let's talk a little bit about Ian first. Who was he to you as a son?
He was number 6 out of our 7 children. We have 5 boys and 2 girls. And he was, I called him my sunshine. I'd always called him my sunshine since he was little, because he woke up with a smile and went to sleep with a smile. And as he was coming into his adolescent years, he was funny. He was just kept our family in stitches around the dinner table, and it was just a lot of fun. Yeah, I just enjoyed him.
He had a great smile.
He did. The smile would just light up the room.
Yeah, he did.
Especially when the braces came off.
When Ian was 12 and a half, he was diagnosed with cancer. And we had been friends with the Lyons for many, many years. But at the time, my husband, Rob, was also their family physician. And so we were involved in that whole experience, that's such an understatement, journey, both because my husband was their family physician, but as friends. We were there very often. Rob would go into the house. 12 and a half. And how did that diagnosis happen? Because it was sudden.
It seemed sudden to us. He for a couple months, he had been complaining of stomach pain and back pain, which I thought was pretty typical of a 12-year-old boy who's growing and very active, swimming and soccer and everything. He was also tired a lot, so I was trying to get him to rest and eat better, and took him to a chiropractor because his back was hurting. And I was thinking, you know what, I probably should take him to Rob, but we'll wait a couple more weeks. Christmas time, the whole family was sledding. Everybody's back hurt. But a few weeks later, he said to me, Mom, there's a couple of bruises on my feet, and they're not getting better. They're getting worse. And I just knew in my heart when he had said that to me. I said, well, on Monday we'll go see Dr. Vogt. And we never made it. He was just curled up in pain in his abdomen because he had a tumor that had been growing, they're guessing, for 6 months. But at that point, it was doubling in size about every 48 hours. And so it had just filled his abdomen, and he was in severe pain, and 95% of his bone marrow had been compromised.
And I also know, because of who you and Dave are, very strong believers, that you chose early on to walk this out in faith, to trust God in this, even though this is a mom's worst nightmare, a dad's worst nightmare. But you decided you would trust God in this.
Yes. Yes, I remember them taking us into the counseling room. It was a young woman doctor, and told us that our son had cancer. And you just feel like all the air is sucked out of the room, and I don't remember what else she said. I know she said some more things, and she laughed because we were just weeping, my husband and I.
She left?
She left the room to give us privacy.
Okay.
Right, she said, I'll just leave you for a bit to collect yourself. And we just sobbed for a while, and I just remember looking at my husband and saying, we've walked with God long enough, and some really hard things had happened the last few years before that, and we had really wrestled with, is God good? And that had already been settled through a very painful process. God is good. I don't know how we're ever going to get through this. I remember taking his hands and I said, we will submit. We will bow before him and we will submit and we will worship him. Somehow we're going to land on our feet because I know God is. But I'm really scared for the kids. We have adult children, adolescent children. A son who was 7 or 8 at the time, not knowing how to help them walk through. We didn't know it was coming. Of course, you always hope for the best. And I just remember thinking, okay, God, it's going to be raw and out and open. We just have to, you're all we have.